What's up guys, this is Void of Dust Gaming, your channel for fresh Arena of Valor content, and today I've got some kind of new format and I want to call it Nightmares from the solo queue. And today I'm going to feature Marja, as I have just been playing a ranked match a couple of minutes ago, and well, that was special, to put it mildly. Marja is a character that I don't really play that often. I just looked it up in my video history, and the last video that has been released on Marja was in June 2021, so quite a while ago, over a year. I think I haven't played the champion since. She's not really on my radar. I had the opinion that she's actually a pretty bad character. I know that there are some tweaks coming up with one of the future patches, because the arena servers always have them a little bit upfront before the European servers get them. So there might be some changes about her, but I don't really think that it's going to be in her favor. So I just wanted to try out the champion and see how good or bad she is in the current meta, and this is what this video is going to be all about, as well as the current status of the ranked matches. Yeah, it's going to be special. So first of all, I want to go with you through the build that I've been choosing for today's video. So as you can see, it's called Instant Burst. So we've got the main damage items here in the equipment section with Barriers Agony, we've got Boomstick, we've got Hecates. All of them are pretty much staple on this hero. I've taken Reyes because Marja is a lot about health management. So she's got great tools of getting health back, but as well, on the other hand, she is becoming a little bit better the less health she has, so that's a little bit of a difficulty here if you don't really play her that often, as I don't do. So it's a fine line, I guess, to kind of find out how much health she really needs to be potentially dangerous. I haven't figured that out, to be fair, but the upcoming video is going to show how I have played her. Enchantment wise, as her ult is really powerful, you want to have the cooldown as little as possible. Therefore we're going with the Sacred Bait here. We've got some additional items here to boost our survivability a little bit better in terms of the Sacred Protection here. And then we've thrown in some Raging Inferno for some additional damage, as well as a talent reduction, because Flicker is actually quite powerful on her, because it's just going to be a good gap closer to make her ult work in possible ways. And I've got some examples in the upcoming video where you can actually see how this was implemented. Arcana-wise, I've been taking pretty standard build: Ability Power, Magic Pen, Magic Lifesteal, and cooldown reduction. If you want to copy it, that's 10 times Violate level 3, that's 10 times Devour level 3, and last but not least is 10 times Hex for some additional cooldown reduction. And that is the build, and I'm sorry, but the actual gameplay will be quite long, over 20 minutes, because it actually took quite a while to go through that before the result screen has been showing. But I can tell you that this build is able to score 40% damage if your teammates are not really doing that much, but we're going to talk about that in a couple of seconds. The last bit before I'm going to show the actual gameplay is something that I would like to ask you. If you can manage to put a like and a comment here on the video, that would really help me out, because it is good for the algorithm. YouTube loves likes and comments, so if you have some spare time to put something down, that would be really, really helpful. And that's about that. Enough talking, let's get into the game and let's get real. All right, here we go. And yeah, we had some, I would say, communication issues at the beginning of the game, because I was picking Marja and Malok was already hitting Malok, and I think he wanted to go on the solo lane. And I asked him, or I said, like, look, we can switch lanes, so I'm going mid and you're going solo lane. But as you can see, he refused by just walking straight into the solo lane. Therefore, we're now facing a lane as a brawler slash duelist here on the solo lane, and you guys are going to see how good Marja actually is against heroes like Elaine. Unfortunately, we're not really that strong at our first level, but things are going to become actually quite powerful as soon as we hit level 2, but you are going to see for yourself through the continuous time of the game how good that actually is. In terms of the overall team composition, I was actually quite satisfied. We had Baldoom, pretty nice tank support, can be played quite aggressively, has good crowd control abilities, and therefore I was thinking like this is something that we can abuse. Malak is also a great damage dealer with his true damage, with the shielding capabilities, and a lovely ultimate to introduce team fights and start the fighting. And with Zenith, who is a great burst warrior, we have every tool in the world in order to make a really good game work. Telena's range comes into the gameplay quite handy because she has a good amount of range that she can put between herself and everything that the enemies are going to throw into our faces. So I thought initially from the whole team composition that we would have the upper end with 2 tanks, me as some kind of hybrid tank build, as Marja is going to get a lot of health and a lot of sustain here. Telenas with great range and a burst champion with Xanis. So I already saw that this might be a win, but time is going to show if my suggestion should be the correct one, or if the enemies are starting to whittle us down with ease because they've got great damage dealers. So they've got Telenas with great range. They've got Azenka, who is actually a CC powerhouse. Most of the time I think he is not really calculated to be that great, but I think he has become a really good champion with all the changes to mage items. So he was always at the bottom of the tier list when it comes to mage performances, but I think you can probably put him into mid-tier right now, especially if he has a really good setup that can play around him. Then the enemy has Joker, who is still one of the best AD carries, just outshined by, I think, Hayate and Elsu right now in the game, as Thorn has taken a beating through the nerfs. And then they've got Telenas in the jungle, a pick that I was not really that fond of. I thought that, okay, this is just some kind of troll mechanism that they're going to apply here. But you guys are going to see that it actually worked out quite nicely. And with Elaine, who is a great initiator, they've got a good tool to start off fights, and he has good escape mechanisms as well as some true damage, magic damage, and all those things that Elaine players just bring to the table by being Elaine. So I would say in total the enemies actually had a really good team composition, but I just thought that our team composition was a little bit nicer just because of the 2 tanks. But sometimes you're just outscaled by damage, and I think in this particular game this was not the case by the team composition itself, but you guys have to see, or have to take a closer look on our team's performance in terms of the individual performance when I am going to show you the results later on, when I'm going to flicker through the screens. And it's going to be a disaster, to put it like that. It was really, really shocking how few impact someone can actually have on a game like that. Like, look at that. I'm the gold leader right now. I've got 3 kills. Unfortunately, I died 2 times, which was, I think, something that could have been prevented. I'm just lucky that I can deal with Elaine quite nicely, especially if he's going into ult and I have my ult up. I can just kind of I kind of counter ult him without much of a problem, and my sustain is a lot better than his. So as you can see, he's now ulting. I'm ulting as well, so I'm going to deal damage as well as silencing him, and he just stays a little bit too long in the fight. That flicker was unintentional. That wasn't part of my killing strategy, but he is just completely off-greeding himself here, and I would say with minor success. Like, it didn't really turn out the way I think he's supposed to end the team fight here, and therefore I'm in a good position right now with 4-2. But if you take a closer look on the overall results, we are already behind 4 kills because the enemy team 5 kills. What was that? Like, seriously, what was the intention? Like, what did Malik think of doing something like that? And if it comes to personal performances, like individual performances on the battlefield, you need to take a really good look on the equipment choices that Baldoom has been executing so far. It is hilarious. Like I was just like, should I put my smartphone away and, I don't know, like watch a movie, have a good time or something like that? Or is it really worth of trying to win this game, because it is going to be a really tough one? That was completely the case after 7 minutes played. I was completely aware of the fact that the enemy team, they were focused on winning the game. They wanted to win this game quite eagerly, and you can tell by especially Azenkar's performance at the end. 6-1 already, so really good chunky. Look at Baldoom's equipment. I mean, yes, Malik has been taking the support item, which I don't really see on him. Why would you take it? Take Mantle of Ra instead, for example, and you're going to have a much better time on the battlefield. But I can just assume that this choice made Baldoom completely refuse to play the game the way it was supposed to. Again, he's killed right now, and I think there was a lot of trolling and intentional feeding here, which I highly disagree with. It's just if you don't want to play the game, do something else. Like, no one is asking you, no one is forcing you to play this game. Like, there's not really that much that we can do against it, but if you have a hard time because work sucks, your partnership sucks, your dog is stupid, double kill here, by the way, do something else. Like, don't pick up your phone and ruin some other person's experience, as this guy was doing. 171, 3,200 gold, no equipment bought so far. Like, there's not even something that I can use as a report here, because buying no equipment isn't an option. So that was really frustrating. But as I just wanted to have some kind of content for YouTube, and I already had the feeling that this was something that I want to talk about, I was kind of chilled out. Like, it was fine. I was like, okay, well, it's not about winning. I guess that I'm going to become MVP, or at least close to MVP, during the fight. So I was completely fine with that. I mean, it's just a waste of time. With kids and dogs and stuff, you don't really have that much time. So of course, it's always this kind of bargain. Is this video going to be something for the channel? Am I going to rank up or not? That's the second question. So in this case, we can definitely tell this is not going to be the case. I'm not going to rank up with 1125. I can try as hard as I want to, but 2 people are basically just refusing to play the game. But all in all, I already had the feeling that this is going to become some kind of fun content to talk about, to have something for you as an audience. Therefore, I was chilled. I was like, relax. I was just hoping that it's not going to take too long, just because I already had the impression that Telenos and Baldoom didn't really want to play Arena of Valor. Maybe there were sorts of, I don't know, Super Mario players, Tetris players, Fortnite players, or something like that. Maybe some single game modes or something like that. Maybe they're just not used to play as a team. Could be the case. Maybe they had a bad day, and they just wanted to put their frustration into a game and I don't know, mock people, troll people, or do something like that in order to feel better, which is fine. But then I would advise them to play something single player pace. Play Ark or something like that on the PC. That's cool. Or play one of those like Raid Shadow Legends, or some of those hefty things that are advertised on YouTube all the time. You're just doing other people a favor here. in this case, we had to deal with it. And as you can see, oh my god, that was actually quite funny that I completely flickered into the Joker rocket, but not really that much that we can do. Valor is close on getting his fourth item right now. So gold-wise, I was actually pretty fine. I had a good feeling about this, and that's another not really frustrating point, but it's actually quite sad. Like I was having a good game. My stats were okay so far. I took some risks that should not have been taken, but that's usually my playstyle. I play a lot more aggressive than I should do. Guys following this channel already know about this, that I'm a little bit too greedy, I'm a little bit upfront, and my positioning isn't always on par. But all in all, I would consider myself as a mediocre player. 55% win rate, that's fine. I can live with that. I don't need that much better. 60 would be great, but it's hard to accomplish, especially if you've got teams like that. But it was just really, really sad that these people didn't really play the game to the fullest. And what is this all about? What is the positioning of Xanis and everyone else? And why is Telenas not fighting any fight with us? I mean, yes, she's getting another tower, which is great. And I think we can be quite thankful. Wanted to get the double kill here on Joker and Azekar. That was my intention. Therefore, I flickered in, but unfortunately, I just got Azekar and Joker, made it out alive. But yeah, she's dead now. Like, good idea. Wasn't too bad, but you can totally tell the enemies were always fighting team fights as a team, which does make total sense after the laning phase, because it just puts so much more pressure on a single lane if you arrive to the party with 4 or 5 people. It's just normal. That's how you play the game. You want to have situations where you have more people trying to fight something than the enemy trying to defend it. What I just wanted to say, the lucky thing was that they didn't go for the objectives quite eagerly. So I would say if they would have really focused on getting Darkslayers and Abyssal Dragons, the game would have been a lot quicker because of the damage buffs that these monsters give you. And crazy enough, we are now fighting back. We're now trying to get Darkslayer, and unfortunately, I completely overextend here. It was way too offensive. I should have just pulled back. But the good call is that the dragon goes off still. Unfortunately, Telenas is way up front. I don't really know what she's doing right now because she doesn't have any real backup. It's just one single put. Yeah, I mean, I guess she wanted to get that minion into position to fight the tower, but now we have to get back to our base in order to defend the tower against that Elaine, who has already disappeared, which is, I think, the smart move to make. I need to drink something because my throat actually hurts. So what I think what we did completely wrong, and taking different roles here is not the case that I want to talk about, but I think what we did completely wrong is we spread out a lot. I would say if we would have managed to get 1 or 2 good team fights being initiated by Malik, following up with Telenas and myself, as well as Xanis afterwards, to just clean up everything after all the ults have been released, I think we would have won the game. Even with a Telenas and a Baldoom who didn't really want to fight. But we didn't. As you can see, everything is already split up again. Zenith is waiting for his time. Fortunately, he makes a really good move here. And I think even the Baldoon ult was actually quite well placed, because it gives us the opportunity to get into Telenas, and now we've got a double kill. And now we've got all the means in the world to turn this fight around. So what Telenas would need to do, as well as Malak, is to close in immediately or make a call for Darkslayer. I think these were the only options, but now everyone is hanging around in mid lane, not really doing a thing. Meanwhile, I'm trying to clear that tower, which actually worked out quite nicely. So now, what is Xanas's deal? What is he all about? Why is Baldoon dead? And what is wrong with the positioning of Telenas here? She is way up front. She can't really deal with the lane on her own. Baldoon is dead, so there's not really that much that can shield her. And now we are back on 3 people again. And with Azankar and Valheim still standing, they've got all the crowd control in the world to just deny us any entrance towards their towers. They've got a good clear speed. Joker is here as well. So they've got all the tools that they need to defend their base. And we have a hard time on getting in. Again, 4 players. 4 players all over the place. So I think the wise decision was to get into Darkslayer here. But again, no calls. You need to check the minimap in order to see what your teammates are all about. So that's something that I really don't like about Arena of Valor in total. People are actually not pinging their actions. They refuse to tell you what they're about to do. And I think that is actually... It's common sense to tell people what you want to do. So I'm trying to make an entrance here in order to kill at least 1 guy, which I completely did. And now 2 are dead. Malik is alive, Baldoon is alive, Zenith is alive. So everything is good. The only thing that we need to do now is focus on 1 single action. So the tower is gone. Telnas is trying to defend against Valheim. Positioning is also key. They take quite a long time to deal with the lane. I think way too long. Because now Telenas is dead. I don't know what she did. She should have just fallen back into safety behind the tank lines. And now look at that. Now everything seems to be quite open, but unfortunately, Baldoon lets himself get killed again. So I think we are now on 12 deaths or something with little effort. Like, that's the problem. If he would have been on a 17-12, well, that's fine. I can deal with that. But in this case, he didn't really do that much. So we are back on regrouping, and that's always a problem because it takes the momentum out of the game. We had a solid encounter, but now we are back on track, and we need to focus on something again. So Zenith and I are trying to clear the middle lane, which is actually quite nice. And now I make a big mistake, and that's crucial. I don't think that I ruined the game because the game was ruined all in all before. But this was actually quite bad, and I feel sorry about that because I let my team down here. Because of the CC, I'm really, really close on dying, and now I should pull back. There's not really that much that I could do against it. But I don't know if it's up in the next seconds, but... oh no, I'm going to teleport back, which is going to be nicely executed, but then afterwards I'm going to make a mistake in the choice of the team fight. And as I said, I don't think that this ruined the game because the game was already it was already a downhill battle, but I should have played it a little bit more focused. But I think the focus was just gone after 20 minutes. I was just like, well, we're not going to win this. My team does not want to win. Why should I have the intention on doing? So here, as you can see, Elaine made a good entrance. Like that was crazily good, coming from the back with no support. Baldoon is doing something. Telenas is doing something. and I think she just came back, and this is it. That was the moment where we threw the game, and I think it was mainly because I entered the fight. But look at the stats: 17-6 Valheim, and my score with 12-9 isn't even good. I think 4 to 5 deaths could have been prevented by me not going all in, but look at that: 4-14, 1-14. That's bollocks. They're sitting on 90,000 gold. Azenkai has. This is like the plain stupidity. If you have been playing a game for 22 minutes, it's everything, but it's not easy, because if it was easy, you would have won it in the first 10 minutes. I'm sorry to address it like that, but you are just an idiot. Well, here we go. That was my game with Marja. All in all, we scored 40, a rough estimation of 40% of the overall damage. But I would say, look at that score of telling us here, 0.7, 10%. Yeah, so we are damage leader here. We've taken most damage and have the best participation. So that was that. I hope you guys enjoyed the entertainment factor of this, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.